Whoopsie, didn't mean to even hit record there. Hi, this is my introduction. Gonna set this down here so we can talk a little bit more personally. Hopefully. This is on some weird thing that my grandmother probably made. Looks a little voodoo-y-ish. It's okay though, it's all in good spirit. Kidding, good spirit. Anyway, so the title of the video is dealing with toxic experiences that stick in your memory, and how in my life it's been transformed into bittersweet living legends of mine, or whatever you want to call it. So you can sit there and lament over past traumas that have happened to you, and you can sit there and think about how you want them to have been differently, and you suppress them, and then when you remember them again, it's like almost the most enlightening feeling you could experience besides death, maybe, in comparison, wouldn't know. And to me, that's pretty special. So the way that you live in a life when you're surrounded by dead trees, and you want the dead trees to be alive, yet somehow they're mocking you and they're telling you that you can't be a live tree because that's not ever been seen around these parts. What you gotta do is you tell your depression, you tell those negative thoughts, you tell those dead trees, you tell them to grow, you tell them to suck up as much nourishment as they can, and you tell them to use it for their own purpose, for whatever that may be, to develop their own leaves and their own branches. And in doing this, you are shedding off the canvas that was, covering you from getting sun, metaphorically speaking. Now, you have the ability to not only shade others who are not trees, maybe the people around you, not the trees, the ones that actually need the sun to grow because they're, they're people, they need vitamin D. Trees don't really need it, it helps a lot to help us live and continue to live. So, anyway, that was a brief little lesson there. Not a scientist or anything. Just, so yeah, what my experience has been is that you can get the good out of it. Someone may have said, your lip piercing looks like terrible and you're only 16 years old, what are you doing with that in there? Except for at the time, it doesn't feel like you're getting advice. It doesn't feel like you're getting anything that is nourishing to you. Yet at the same time, you're gonna look back maybe 5-7 years later and be like, that person was just doing the best they could with what they had. They weren't looking at this objectively, they were looking at it subjectively, and they were thinking, how can my role as a teacher or whatnot be impressed upon this person in a way to make them feel comfortable. And by doing this, they were bonding, but they did not realize the hurt that they had caused. They did not realize that they had just shaded parts of the tree, like almost cut off like a branch with an axe. Actually, that's the way it would feel, metaphorically speaking. So, what you can do from looking back, you can't, it's really hard sometimes to get through those moments without doing something that would harm yourself or others in the process when you're healing. When you are not in that situation, it's really hard to get to that point, So hopefully you can learn from my mistakes of misunderstanding things, or maybe taking things a little bit too personally because they were meant that way. And this can all be backed up by validation of this place that, the environment that surrounds me is very close-knit. And so pretty much anything that is said to you is personal, no matter who it is, even if you don't know them that well. Because you know that someone knows them. And that is very empowering in some ways, but if you feel really safe with them. At the same time, if you're an outsider, which growing up it always felt that way for me because most of the people, and me didn't have the same idea of what fun was. We didn't really have the same, parents that had the same background, so it's very, just kind of, it's challenging to look back and see the good. So by talking about this in this video is really helping me to heal, because a memory popped up, and it was somebody who wasn't really super close to me, but they were one of my friends' friends, and then happened to be one of my family's, like, relatives, you know, like, girlfriend's relative, whatever. And, they called me something, and it stuck to me, and it made me go socially inept for a while. It was almost like the world didn't exist to me anymore, because what they said was something that was believed by me, because where my family grew up loving me and treating me with respect, the things that they said really were like truth to me. So if they told me that, oh hey, you did a good job on this, it was believed, and it was, you know, not. And now, I guess, like, what this, you know, in summary, it's like, you need to learn how to know when you know what is right for you, and need to know when, like, to tell someone to fuck off, or to tell, you know, not really tell them that, that's rude. If you want to, go ahead, but, you know, metaphorically tell them to fuck off, because, you know that's what's right for you, you know your value, and so, yeah, basically, it's like being a little root that's sprouting out of the ground, and it's like you were searching for every validation of, like, that you are actually a root sprouting from the ground, and that's what it feels like being from here, and dealing with depression here, and just other roots, you know what I mean, because that's what we do here, we stick to our roots, because that's all we know, because we're not in the big world, you know, we haven't been out in the big world. And yes, we may have our technology and our ways of communicating with our friends. That is only in spirit. That is not an experience. So, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you can understand me a little bit better and yourself a little bit better. And until next time.